After I released the episode 97 on how anti-Zionism became antisemitism's new uniform, I got a comment that stopped me cold. It said, "It's called ideological cross-dressing, to wage a confession by projection, hybrid disinformation war. Every accusation, apartheid, settler colonialism, genocide, imperialism, land theft, is a confession of what Arabs have done since Khaybar, Yahud." And then it listed the victims: Kurds, Yazidis, Copts, Berbers, Darfuris, Persians, Maronite Christians, Bethlehem's disappearance Christians, Druze. The comment ended with a quote from Vasily Grossman's Life and Fate. "Show me what you accuse the Jews of, and I'll show you what you are guilty of." Today we are talking about projection, how every accusation against Israel is a confession of what Arab Islamic conquest has been doing for 1400 years, and how the Arabic version of From the River to the Sea gives away the entire game. Shalom, I'm Igal, and this is Middle East in less than 5 minutes. The Arabic version says it all. Let's start with something most people don't know. When Western activists chant from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, they claim it's about liberation, about justice, about freedom. But in Arabic, the slogan is different. Min al-miyeh, lil-miyeh, Falastin Arabiyeh. From the water to the water, Palestine will be Arab. Not free, Arab. No liberation for everyone. Arab conquest. That's not a call for coexistence. That's a call for ethnic domination, for replacing one population with another, for making the land exclusively Arab. And that's what Arab Islamic conquest has been doing for 1400 years. Khaybar ya Yahud. The comment mentions Khaybar. Let's talk about what that means. Khaybar was a Jewish settlement in Arabia in the 7th century. In 628 CE, Muhammad's army besieged it, conquered it, killed the men, enslaved the women and children, and took the land. It's considered a great victory in Islamic history. And to this day, when anti-Israel protesters want to threaten Jews, they chant Khaybar ya Yahud, Yaish Muhammad Sayaud. Khaybar, O Jews, the army of Muhammad will return. That's not about Israeli policy. That's about finishing what started 1400 years ago. Conquest, elimination, cleansing the land of Jews. And Khaybar wasn't a one-time thing. It was the beginning of a pattern that continues to this day. Settler colonialism? Let's talk about Arab conquest. Israel gets accused of settler colonialism constantly. The claim is that Jews are European colonizers who stole indigenous Arab land. Let's look at the actual history of settler colonialism in the Middle East. The Arabian Peninsula in the 7th century was Arab. That's where Arabs are from. Then Islam exploded out of Arabia in a series of military conquests. Egypt wasn't Arab, it was Coptic Christian, and before that ancient Egyptian civilization going back thousands of years. Arabs conquered it in 639 CE. They imposed Arabic language, Islamic law, and Arab identity. The Copts, the indigenous people, became a persecuted minority in their own land. Today, Copts make up maybe 10% of Egypt. They face discrimination, violence, church burnings. Their population is shrinking. That's what happens after 1400 years of Arab colonization. Syria wasn't Arab, it was Aramaic-speaking Christians, among other groups. Arabs conquered it, Arabized it. Today, Aramaic is nearly extinct. Iraq wasn't Arab, it was a cradle of civilization. Mesopotamia, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians. Arabs conquered it. The indigenous Assyrian Christians are now a tiny persecuted minority. North Africa wasn't Arab, it was Berber. The Berbers are the indigenous people of North Africa, with their own language and culture. Arabs conquered them, Arabized them, and now the Berber language and identity survive only in pockets. Lebanon wasn't Arab, it was Phoenician, then Christian Maronite. Arab conquest turned it into a Muslim-majority country. The Christians, once dominant, are now maybe 30% and shrinking. Palestine itself, before Arab conquest, it was Byzantine Christian, and before that Jewish, and before that Canaanite. Arabs arrived in 636 CE as conquerors. They did not grow out of the land. They took it by force. That's settler colonialism. Military conquest, population replacement, cultural erasure, and imposed identity. And they accuse Israel of it. Apartheid? Let's talk about Dhimmi status. Israel gets called an apartheid state. The claim is that Arabs are second-class citizens. Let's talk about actual apartheid. Islamic law has a category for non-Muslims called dhimmis, Jews and Christians living under Islamic rule. Dhimmis had to pay a special tax, the jizya, just for being non-Muslim. They couldn't testify against Muslims in court. They couldn't build new houses of worship. They had to wear distinctive clothing so Muslims could identify them. They couldn't ride horses, only donkeys. They had to step aside when Muslims walked by. That's apartheid, codified in religious law for 1400 years. Today, try being a Jew in most Arab countries. Oh, wait, you can't. They were all expelled. Try being a Christian in Saudi Arabia. You can't build a church. You can practice openly. Convert a Muslim to Christianity? Death penalty. Try being a Baha'i in Iran. Persecuted, banned from university, imprisoned. Try being Druze in Syria. They are considered heretics, massacred by Islamist groups. Try being Yazidi in Iraq. ISIS enslaved them, executed them, tried to eliminate them entirely. And they accuse Israel of apartheid. Israel, where Arab citizens vote, serve in parliament, sit on the Supreme Court, and have full legal rights. Genocide? Let's talk about 1400 years of erasure. Israel is accused of genocide in Gaza. Never mind that Gaza's population has grown every year. Never mind that Israel warns civilians before strikes. Never mind that Hamas uses human shields. Let's talk about actual genocide and ethnic cleansing, shall we? The Kurds are the largest stateless ethnic group in the world, about 30 million people. They've lived in the region for thousands of years. Arabs and Turks have spent decades trying to erase them. Saddam Hussein gases them, Turkey bombs them, Syria suppresses them, Iran persecutes them. The Yazidis in Iraq were nearly wiped out by ISIS. Thousands of men executed, women and girls enslaved, raped, sold in markets. Their religion deemed heretical, their existence intolerable. The Darfuris in Sudan, Arab militias backed by the Sudanese government, have massacred hundreds of thousands, raped, burned villages, ethnic cleansing to Arabize the region. The Christians in Bethlehem. In 1948, Bethlehem was 86% Christian. Today, less than 12%. Driven out by intimidation, violence, and Islamic pressure. The Christians of Iraq. Before 2003, there were 1.5 million Christians in Iraq. Today, maybe 200,000. The rest fled or were killed. The Berbers of North Africa. Their language banned in many countries, their identity suppressed, Arabized by force, and they accuse Israel of genocide. Imperialism. The entire Middle East is Arab imperial conquest. Israel gets called imperialist, a Western outpost, a colonial project. The entire Middle East is a product of Arab imperialism. Arabs conquered from Arabia to Spain in the west and to Central Asia in the east. They imposed Arabic language, Islamic law, and Arab identity. That empire is why the entire region is called the Arab world. Not because Arabs are indigenous to Egypt, Syria, Iraq, or North Africa, but because they conquered it. That's imperialism, that's colonization, that's replacing indigenous culture with a conqueror's culture. Jews didn't conquer Israel. Jews are indigenous to Israel. Jewish history, language, religion, and culture are rooted in that land for over 3,000 years. Jews didn't Arabize anyone. Jews didn't impose Hebrew on surrounding populations. Jews didn't build an empire. Arabs did, and they accuse Jews of imperialism. Land theft? Let's talk about Waqf and confiscation. Israel is accused of stealing Palestinian land. Let's talk about how Islamic conquest actually worked. When Muslims conquered the territory, they declared the land Waqf, Islamic endowment, property of the Muslim community, forever. That means once a land is conquered by Muslims, it's considered eternally Muslim. And non-Muslim control over it is seen as illegitimate. That's why the existence of a Jewish state on land once conquered by Muslim is considered intolerable. It's not about borders. It's not about 1967 or 1948. It's about 636 CE, when Arabs first took the land. To them, the land is stolen not because of what Israel did in the 20th century, but because Jews dared to take back what Muslims once conquered. That's the mentality. Islamic land can never revert to non-Muslim control. And meanwhile, where did all the Jews in Arab countries go? Their homes, businesses, property confiscated, stolen. Over 850,000 Jews expelled from Arab lands. Their wealth taken. Their communities erased. And they accuse Israel of land theft. Vasily Grossman's warning. Vasily Grossman was a Soviet Jewish journalist who covered World War II and Stalinism. In his novel Life and Fate, written in 1960, he captured something profound about antisemitism. Show me what you accuse the Jews of, and I'll show you what you are guilty of. That line explains everything we are seeing today. Every accusation against Israel, apartheid, colonialism, genocide, imperialism, land theft, is an actual confession. Arabs accuse Jews of settler colonialism while sitting on 1400 years of Arab conquest. They accuse Jews of apartheid while codifying religious discrimination in Islamic law. They accuse Jews of genocide while erasing Kurds, Yazidis, Christians, and Berbers. They accuse Jews of imperialism while Arabizing half the world. They accuse Jews of land theft while confiscating Jewish property across the Middle East. It's projection, pure and simple. Why this works? Here's why this strategy is so effective. Most people don't know Middle Eastern history. They don't know about Arab conquest. They don't know about Dhimmi status. They don't know about the Copts and the Berbers or the Yazidis. So when Israel is accused of colonialism, they believe it, because they don't know that the accusers are the actual colonizers. When Israel is accused of apartheid, they believe it, because they don't know about 1400 years of Islamic apartheid. When Israel is accused of genocide, they believe it, because they don't know about the actual genocides Arabs have committed and continue to commit. Ignorance is the soil where these lies grow. The cultural mosaic that was destroyed. The Middle East used to be a cultural mosaic. Jews, Christians, Zoroastrians, Yazidis, Druze, Berbers, Kurds, Assyrians, Copts, Maronites. Dozens of languages, religions, and cultures. Arab Islamic conquest spent 1400 years homogenizing it, erasing it, Arabizing it, Islamicizing it, and now the region is called the Arab world. as if it always was, as if Arabs are indigenous to Egypt and Iraq and Syria and North Africa, as if everyone else doesn't exist. That erasure is so complete that when one tiny people, the Jews, manage to reclaim a sliver of their ancestral homeland and defend it successfully, it's considered a crime. Because the expectation is that once Muslims conquer a place, it's theirs forever, and any resistance to that is illegitimate. Every accusation is a confession. When they accuse Israel of settler colonialism, they are confessing what Arab conquest did to the Middle East. When they accuse Israel of apartheid, they are confessing what Islamic law does to non-Muslims. When they accuse Israel of genocide, they are confessing what they've done to Kurds, Yazidis, and Christians. When they accuse Israel of imperialism, they are confessing how the entire Middle East became the Arab world. When they accuse Israel of land theft, they are confessing how Jewish property across the Arab world was stolen. And when they chant from the water to the water, Palestine will be Arab, they are telling you exactly what this is really about. Not liberation, conquest, not justice, domination, not coexistence, erasure. Vasily Grossman saw it in 1960. It's still true in 2026. Show me what you accuse the Jews of, and I'll show you what you're guilty of. I'm Igal, and this was Middle East in less than 5 minutes. Until next time, Shalom.